you got to trust your intuition, bro, but you must do it correctly. All right, there's a correct way and procedure of how to do this, because people do say, well, trust your intuition and this, that, but most people's intuition is incorrect and it's fucked, okay, and it doesn't serve them in life. It actually makes them go worse into life, okay, because most people's intuition tells them to fucking watch porn, to fucking eat junk food, to fucking jack off, to fucking do all these degenerate habits that don't serve them, okay. And intuition, bro, speaks a different language than just simple thought, okay. Thoughts are different, all right. Thoughts in your mind are literally, like, honestly, words in your mind. Like, you can hear the words in your mind telling you, all right, yeah, do this. But intuition has a different language, all right. It doesn't speak through thought, okay. It speaks through feeling, okay, because the subconscious mind, the language of the subconscious mind, bro, is feeling and emotion, okay. And feeling and emotion, bro, you can feel this shit anywhere. I know for me, like, I feel it in my chest, bro, my stomach, like that kind of area. But you know what feelings feel like, all right. You feel angry, you feel sad, you feel happy, you feel joyful, you feel horny, bro, whatever, all right. Any type of feeling you feel. And the language of the subconscious mind is emotion, okay. And intuition speaks through the subconscious mind, all right. Intuition is programmed through your subconscious mind, so therefore it would only logically make sense, based off what I'm saying, that intuition speaks through what? Emotion, okay, and what you feel, okay. And you have to get good at this and be aware and be present of how you're feeling, okay. And the first way you can do this shit is through meditation. And meditation is simply just you sitting by yourself, laying down by yourself in silence and solitude, and just understanding the thoughts that come up. So just literally observing that and observing the sensations that you feel in your body. It's really that simple. Just be aware, just practice being aware of what's going on in your body, while simultaneously also being aware of what's going on in your mind and your thoughts, okay, and how these two interlink to one another, okay. So what that thought is causing the emotion, and that emotion is causing the thought, etc. All right, so that's the first way you do that shit. All right, you got to be aware of what's going on in your body, yeah. All right, because without awareness, bro, if you're not aware of your intuition, if you're not aware of those nudges that you get, then you're missing out on the nudges that could potentially change your life in the direction that you want to go. Because the thing is, bro, the subconscious mind, bro, I think there's a quote somewhere, it's very generic, it's very basic, but the subconscious mind, bro, it's like an anchor, bro, and it literally dictates 90% of our life, some shit like that, whereas consciously it's only like 10%, yeah. All right, but in order to change the subconscious mind to serve us, bro, okay, I don't think I made a video about this, but I probably will in the future, all right. Just to clarify again, the way that programming your subconscious mind, bro, is through emotion, okay, through visualization, through images, through feeling, okay. Whatever makes you feel like a different person, whatever makes you feel like the person you want to be, or that life you want to achieve, bro, if you feel that way right now, then your intuitive nudges are gonna nudge you to get there, okay. But the thing is, you have to listen to that shit. That's my message of this video, is to trust that shit and listen to that shit, okay. Because let me break down the whole process, all right. So to program your subconscious mind, you essentially visualize, all right, or you do any sort of technique, affirmations, affirming words into your mind, speaking about it to other people, whatever works for you, bro, whatever makes you feel like that version of you. So let's say you want to become rich, handsome, tall, sexy like me, okay. Let's say you want to be like that, yeah. You imagine the version of you who is that, yeah. So what does he behave like? What does he talk like? What's he wearing? How does he like what does it feel like? What does he smell like? What does he see? All the five senses. Use all the five senses, yeah, in your physical experience, yeah. I actually made a video about this, about the power of imagination, so watch that video, yeah. But you use the imagination essentially to create a real experience in your mind, and you'll notice this shit works when you have a physiological change, all right. Physiological change in your body. So if you're thinking about sex, bro, your dick's gonna go up, all right. If you're thinking about going to the gym, getting a pump, or you're gonna have a lot of adrenaline, your heart rate's gonna like spike up, you know what I mean, all right. So you gotta have a physiological change and adaptation in your body. So that's when you know this shit's working, all right. And you're gonna feel different types of emotional changes as well, okay. You might start crying, okay, for example, like tears of joy, if you imagine something successful or achieving something, retiring parents, whatever, okay, it doesn't matter. So you're gonna feel that emotional change within you, and when you feel that emotional change within you, that's when you know this shit worked, all right. So you've done the visualization, emotional change is done within you, yeah. And you do this repeatedly over time until you naturally just feel like that person now, okay. And you can notice this occurrence when in your day-to-day you naturally start feeling different, you naturally start speaking different, start doing new things, start operating and reacting in new ways, okay, because you're actually a new version of yourself emotionally, all right. Because it all starts with the mind and the emotions, so it starts there, all right. And you just got to continuously solidify that shit until like your mind and your brain actually believes that you are that person and knows that you're that person. So you need to continuously solidify that that aura, that energy that you have, all right. So you solidify that shit, so you visualize that, you solidify that shit, okay. And then from now on, because without action nothing is possible, all right. I'm not here to tell you that that you can just imagine shit in your mind and it's just gonna fall in your lap like that. No, life does not work like that, all right. There's a physical action part of it, all right. But a lot of people take physical action in the wrong state. They take physical action from a feeling state of lack, of poverty, of the depression, of anxiety, like all that shit, you know what I mean. So action's not just going to solve your problems for you, all right. You got to start with the mind and the emotions, and then also you got to simultaneously act on those new emotions and that new mental model and mind frame, okay. So what you got to do, bro, is you got to take action based on the intuitive nudges that you get, all right, and what feels right, you know what I mean. And you got to trust that shit, because the thing is, bro, it might not seem logical in the moment, it might seem illogical because you've been a previous worse version of yourself before, you know what I mean. And that version of you told you to do this, but the new version of you might tell you to do something else, you know what I mean. Okay, so you got to listen to that new version of yourself. You got to listen to that new version of yourself, and the way you do that first of all by being aware of what intuitive nudges you're feeling. And remember, it speaks the language of the subconscious mind. So you're gonna feel what's right. All right, it might not seem logical, but you gotta feel what's right based on how you program your subconscious mind. So it all starts with the subconscious mind. You gotta program that shit correctly in the direction that you want to go to, and then you have to trust those nudges, bro. You gotta trust those fucking nudges, bro. You know what I mean? You gotta trust them, because if you don't trust them, you're essentially saying, you know what, I'm going back to my old version of me. I'm going back to that old version of me who gets those types of results. But if you take that leap of faith, all right, this is what it says in the Bible and all that, bro. If you take those like leaps of faith, bro, over fear, all right, fear is just essentially trying to hold you back to go to the lower version of you, the old version of you. But if you leap into faith, bro, all right, take that leap of faith, bro, and you trust your intuition, you trust that those new nudges that feel uncomfortable and uncertain, I promise you, you're gonna get life-changing results, bro. All right, it might not happen like straight away, but it can lead on to something else, a different building block into something that's gonna get you to that level that you want to get to. You know what I'm saying? All right, so hopefully this all fucking makes sense, all right, because it requires a high level of intellect to kind of understand this shit. All right, but I'll try to give you an example right now of how you can apply this shit. All right, let's say you want to get girls, yeah. So you want to get girls. Let's say you've never gotten girls before, and the old version of you, the old feelings, the old emotions, the old mind frame you had was, all right, I'm the type of guy who doesn't get girls. You know what I mean? So, and you might have had this problem, yeah. So I know a lot of guys have this problem, yeah. They've never gotten girls in their life, this, that, and they try and take action, yeah. They try and get like physically more attractive. They try and just go cold approach girls, go talk to girls. But the thing is, they're doing it from a mind frame and an emotional standpoint where they're still telling themselves in the world, like, you know what, I don't believe I'm the guy like who can get girls. You know what I mean? I don't believe I deserve them, this, that. You know what I mean? They're still carrying that level of emotion, you know what I mean, and state of being, you know what I mean. So what they got to do is, first of all, if I was those types of guys, all right, in their shoes, if that is you, but I'm talking to you, all right, what you need to do, bro, is you need to visualize. All right, imagine me like with all the girls I wanted, all right, whether it's a wife, whether it's a lot of girls, whether it's just going through a party phase, whether it's being married, having kids. Just imagine like what type of like life you want with women, yeah, all right, and imagine that shit, and imagine that version of you, okay. How does he walk? How does he talk? What's he saying? And just literally imagine, let your mind wander, let your mind just create images, scenarios, sounds, make it as real as possible with all the 5 senses. So what can you hear? What are you saying? What can you taste? All right, what can you taste? What can you see? You know what I mean? And literally just make it as real as possible. And then once you start feeling physiological changes in your body, all right, your heart rate, maybe your dick goes up, all right, it could be that, it could be, and then also it has to be emotional change. You gotta have emotional change. You might be feeling different, you might be feeling happier, you might be feeling more relaxed, more confident, more sexy, whatever it is, you're gonna feel different as well, all right? And solidify that version, that image in your mind, okay? Do that every single day until you don't want to do it anymore, until you feel like, you know what, I'm not getting the same emotional reaction from these like images, because most people do it through visualization, but you can do it in imagination, or you can do it through anything else. You can do it through writing down, scripting. The moment that you stop feeling like the emotional impact from those techniques, that's when you gotta stop. That's when you know, all right, I've pretty much solidified that version of me, all right? And then from now on, that guy's literally got that emotional and mind frame state in him right now. So what he needs to do now is he's going to have different types of nudges now, all right, when it comes to women, all right? Previously, he might have had nudges just to go take action, say this pickup line, do this. But the new version of him is going to have different nudges now, all right? He might get nudges now where previously he did not, okay? And he's got to trust that shit, and it's going to be uncertain. Maybe right now, with women, he's going to get the nudge to only speak to, I don't know, this type of woman. Whereas normally, he would have spoken to different types of women before, you know what I mean? Like, he's got to trust that shit. It could be anything, bro, but he's going to get different types of nudges, you know what I mean? And he's got to trust that shit. He's got to learn to trust that shit. So when his intuition tells him to go approach that girl, even though she's got a family around, even though she's not looking at him, but he feels that nudge, he feels that it's right, you know what I mean, to go approach her. If he listens to that shit, I guarantee you something good will happen. He'll either learn something or he'll get the fucking number, all right? And most of the time, bro, the girl was actually into him, all right? Whereas the old version of him in that scenario would have said, nah, you know what, she's with her family, nah, she's not looking at me, she's not interested, you know what I mean, I'm not going after her. And then that old version of him, because that old version of him said, you know what, I don't get girls. That's what happened, really. That's what happened. That's what manifested, bro. He didn't get girls because he trusted the intuitive nudge that told him, yeah, this is what you got to do to not get girls, you know what I mean? But now his new intuitive nudge is telling him, yeah, you're the guy that gets girls, so just fucking approach it anyways, you know what I mean? It's a different type of nudge, you know what I mean? And he has to listen to that shit. This is the message of the video. He has to trust that new intuition, that new nudge, because the thing is, it's going to be uncomfortable, bro. And the reason why it's uncomfortable is because it's new. The old version of him was so comfortable, bro. He was probably that version of him for his whole life. But now this new version of him is different, you know what I mean? It's different and it's uncomfortable. But that's why you got to solidify that image in your mind so clear, where you don't even feel that emotional change anymore from doing the technique. That's what's going to make it more natural for you to just take the actions and trust the intuitive nudges more. You know what I mean? There's going to be less resistance, all right? So that's my message for this video, bro. You can apply and extrapolate this shit to anything in life. getting bigger at the gym, getting women, getting money, having a better relationship with your friends, your family, anything, bro. Apply this shit to anything. Just trust those new nudges, bro. Once you program yourself correctly, bro, trust those new nudges. All right, go into the uncertainty. But the thing is, bro, if you're doing this correctly, bro, and it feels right, bro, it's gonna fucking work. I promise you. All right, 100%. If you need help with this, bro, send me a DM on any platform in the links in the description, bro. All right, I can give you one-on-one advice for your life, bro. But other than that, bro, yeah, subscribe to the channel, bro. Give it a like if you found value, bro. And I'll see you on the fucking next one.